Michelle Spencer. I'm the principal of New Technology High School in Napa, the flagship school. So this is just mind-blowing to come to NTAC and talk the same talk that we've been talking in Napa for 19 years. And everybody gets us, you know? Now we're all in this together, so thank you. New Technology High School was founded in 1996. We're a school in the district. We're a regular public school, but we were designed by our district in collaboration with local businesses and service learning groups. And so, you know, our earliest motto was the school that business built. And the connection we try to have to relevancy in our community and, you know, cutting edge for Silicon Valley thinking, we still try to hold on to that in Napa. So this workshop is on growth mindset and agency, and it's presuming you already know what growth mindset is. But if you don't, you'll probably figure it out. But I'm going to just make that assumption. So you'll have time to ask your neighbors if you're not really familiar with growth versus fixed mindset. And my starting point in that terminology comes from Carol Dweck's text on growth mindset. At New Technology High School every year as a staff, we collaboratively read a text. And last year we read Carol Dweck's text. We didn't read very much of it, actually, because there's so much on the internet. You know, and then the network had all the agency things, so we had a lot of resources at our fingertips, but we kept that text on hand as a resource. And I really hope that we stick with that text another year, because I think there's a lot to it. So some of the things I have for you today have come from what my staff has brought, and our staff, we've learned together about growth mindset. We've experimented together. We do Friday collaboration that is teacher facilitator led for all staff. And so I've been a learner all year along with my staff. So a lot of what I'm sharing with you today was inspired by my own learning from staff at New Tech. All right, so, okay. We must start out with an activity to get you kind of normed and balanced. So we're going to do a quick little game while people settle in. It's, I used to do improv for about 25 years. And so there was just a standard warm-up game we did. I did comedy sports, if you guys know comedy sports. I was a founding member of San Jose's Comedy Sports in 1986. And then I was a founding member of Sacramento's Comedy Sports in 2000 and, I don't know, 5 years ago. 6 years ago, maybe. So they do a warm-up game called Pass the Clap. That's what they call it. I don't recommend you circle your students up and say, let's play Pass the Clap, because when they go home and tell their parents we played Pass the Clap at school, it doesn't go over well. So you could just say synchronized clapping. But that's not the real name. So as adults, we're going to play this right now. So can I have 2 volunteers to model how to do it? Would you do it? Okay. Jane is brand new to New Technology High School and has never played this game before. So she's being brave. Can I have 1 more volunteer? Thank you. Have you played this? Okay, come on up. Two of our own right here. Thank you. So in this game, let's just kind of do an open circle. Our goal is to look at each other and clap at the same time. And then you turn and look at her and clap at the same time. And then you and I clap at the same time. So we're passing the clap around the circle. Okay? But we have to clap at exactly perfect synchronicity. If we don't, then we just start over. So let's see how good we are. We've never done this before. Almost. Let's try it again. Perfect. Now you pass it to her. Not good. No. That was not good. No. Okay, on 3. Nice. No. Good. Good. Okay, so you see how it goes, right? You have to be perfect with each other. If it's not perfect, redo. Okay? So to make this more school-like, we're going to contrive it, where if you don't clap perfectly, you get a -1 point. right? So you're being graded on this, and we're taking away points. Okay? Not supposed to grade improv, but we will do that to mirror school. Okay? So at your tables, you can just stay standing at your tables. You don't have to, you can just be around each other, and you're going to pass the clap. And if somebody isn't perfect, everybody in the group is going to go lose a point, and you'll take away a point, and then they'll have to redo it until they get it perfect. Any questions about this game? Yes?
Do we get to start with a certain amount of points?
Yeah, let's assume you all start with an A, so you all have 100 points, and all you have to worry about is how many points you're losing. Okay, thank you. Other questions about the game? All right, I'll circulate around, so if you have questions, I'll be available. Those of you back there, why don't you just come up in this nice space and circle up? You'll be a table group. All right, so stand up. Introduce yourself to your table mates. How many points do you think you lost?
6 or 7.
That's right. So I'm proud of you for being okay with having lost so much. There was a lot of good energy. This is a fun game to play for warm-ups. It's a fun game to play for get your teams, your collaborative groups to get more synchronized. The students, well, and adults, can get so good that they just go like this, and they're all, it just goes around and around. And then if you want, and then when everybody feels really comfortable and like the challenge is done, then you say, now we do it, and you just have to look at anybody across the circle, and you don't know who it's coming from next. And then the whole group gets crazy synchronized. And they get, you can get just outrageously effective at this, and it just takes a few minutes, so great team building. But for our purposes today, I wanted you to experience the tension of scorekeeping, being thrust into a new situation, and so now I want you to kind of reflect on your just how this felt to you, and take a quick survey. So the survey, if you want to just take it on your phone, you can just do a bit.ly or go to your computer on a bit.ly. Or if you're in the Echo collection, the survey in the Echo collection is linked right there. So it's a quick Google survey. A few questions, they're personal about your feelings. If you can't read this, I thought it was brighter than it. http://bit.ly/NTAC14. Caps matter, so make them all lowercase. Don't do that in your search bar, because then it won't come up. You got to put it right in your URL, and it should come up. If you haven't finished, don't worry. So out of everybody in this group here, so far 45 responses. How do people feel about the game? Let's see. 24 did well, and 3 people did well and disliked it. 17 people didn't do well and
liked the challenge.
Oh, 17 didn't do well and liked the challenge, and so far 1 didn't do well and didn't like it. That's interesting. Some people hate games like that, I like them all the time, but not everybody does. Would you play it again? Yes, I would like to play it until I got really good at it, 32%. I was naturally good at this game, 15%. I wasn't very good at the game, but I would like to try a different game because I think I'd be good at it. I wasn't very good at the game, and I would not want to play a similar game. Oh, look, nobody said that one. Let's play games like this more often, 45%, and then 2 people, let's not play games like this anymore. All right. Your beliefs about intelligence. This is where it gets really interesting. One person thinks your intelligence is something very basic about you that you can't change very much. 4 people, you can learn new things, but you can't really change how intelligent you are. 19 people, no matter how much intelligence you have, you can always change it quite a bit. And 24 people, 50% of you in the room, you can always substantially change how intelligent you are. Holy smokes. Your beliefs about personal qualities and character. Nobody thinks you're a certain kind of person, and there's not much that can be done to change it. 58%, no matter what kind of person you are, you can always change substantially. 11 of you, you can do things differently, but the important parts of who you are can't really be changed. And 10 of you, you can always change basic things about the kind of person you are. This is a really fascinating survey to do with your staff. And I think it works better if you first shake them up a little bit, because you get a little more honest. And I think it's important that this is anonymous, because there's a big disparity in how we educate kids, depending on what we believe about intelligence and capacity. And our beliefs are really our realities. But if you're researching growth mindset and Dweck's research, and you'll get to do some more of it here, there's a lot of fascinating things about our potential. So that's what we'll be kind of looking at together right now. This is from Mindset Works. A lot of their resources are on their website. But it's a nice little summary between what Carol Dweck has defined as growth-minded attitudes versus fixed-minded attitudes. And this one is just focused on the concept of intelligence, but Carol Dweck's research focuses on intelligence, talent, skills, and the attitudes are about the same, though. So if you believe that you can grow your intelligence or your capacity, you're going to embrace challenges, you're going to keep going when things get tough. And I think it's interesting to really get to the heart of fixed mindset, and it's that predetermination of what you're born with. So it doesn't mean, because you never want to say to someone, "You're having a fixed mindset right now." That goes over well, you know. And actually, we kind of have, well, I'll share something about that later on. But if you really think about, okay, we're not born the way we're born. The inclinations we have are entirely changeable if we just set about practicing and attaining goals and try again. So that's kind of mind-blowing. So Dweck's research has shown that this is really important, because I made this mistake. I have 2 teenage daughters, and I completely made this mistake as a parent. I praised my children for being smart, and now they quit on anything that they're not good at quickly. I mean, I hate it. I have 2 they're also just difficult because they're teenage girls. But, you know, I've experienced this firsthand. So her research shows that you don't praise students for being smart. You praise students for the process they've engaged in, the effort they've applied, the strategies they've used, the choices they've made, the persistence they've displayed. And that's going to get you the long-term benefits rather than telling them they're smart. At New Technology High School in Napa, we always lose a group of kids at the end of their freshman year. Because we're a school of choice. I mean, we're not a charter school, but we're still a school of choice in the district. We always lose a handful of kids at the end of the freshman year. So last 3 years, we've done an exit survey. And our perceptions of who we were losing turned out to be quite different than, in fact, who we were losing. The end of the freshman year, we were losing super smart girls. Completely A, super achieving girls. And we were kind of not noticing that we were losing them, but the data has played out. The biggest group of type of kid we lose are what we would call super smart girls. And if you think about thrusting young girls into a project-based environment who their whole life have known that they're smart, have defined themselves as smart, and they know how to do the smart things with books and lectures and teachers and rows and tests, and then we, pow, put them at NTAC. Those girls were staying up all night on projects, doing everybody else's work for them. They did not know how to relinquish control. They were killing themselves. So what we do now is we focus on the freshmen, we focus on the high achievers, and we teach them to be leaders. And to be a leader at NTAC, you have to relinquish control, and you have to learn how to invite others, you have to learn how to delegate, and you have to learn how to trust. You have to learn how to check up and encourage somebody rather than take over and do it yourself. We're still really working aggressively on that skill set because it's really hard for freshmen and it's super hard for high achievers, and it seems to be hardest of all for girls. And also, if you tell kids they're smart and other kids hear you say, "You're so smart," then the other kids feel dumb. And then the smart kids give up easy, so I just don't tell anybody they're smart anymore. Oh, the B and the S didn't come out very bright. This comes from one of our staff members named Lisa, who at a Friday collaboration talked about your basic story. She said, "You know, I've been thinking about growth mindset, and I realized I have a basic story in my head. It's my BS." We went, "Yeah, I got some BS too. I got a basic story." Let me give you, so it's what we tell ourselves about ourselves or about our situation. So my basic story, and I've probably said it 4 times just in New Orleans, I don't have an internal compass. I cannot tell north, south, east, west. I get completely lost like that. I'm lucky I even know up from down. I was born that way. And I say it all the time. I don't have an internal compass. Something's wrong with my brain. I'm good at other things, but I just can't find my way around. So that's my basic story. When I'm in a new town, I tell myself, watch out. You don't have an internal compass. And in a lot of ways, that is a BS story if I want to start practicing my growth mindset. So, you know, I've been working hard on saying I have a challenge with direction. I'm developing skills to be more aware. You know, I'm working on my basic story. The interesting thing about our basic stories are that really the details of our basic stories are true, right? If you don't have an internal compass, it's kind of true. We can't deny the truth of it. There's truth in the details. So kids who say, "I stink at math," right? We have to acknowledge that it's true for them. We have to just acknowledge those details are true. And yet we also have to talk about, is that truth serving me? Is that truth, is your basic story serving you? Or do you want to change that one? You know, and it doesn't mean you have to change every single basic story you have, but I kind of think I'm going to work on the one basic story I have about no internal compass, and I'll just work on that one and see if we can get better. So I like the concept of a basic story. And again, I think it's okay for adults to talk about their BS sometimes and giggle about it. So we do a lot of that, but we really try to focus on helping kids recognize, oh, that's your basic story. Do you want to re-engineer that story? Is that a story you'd like to change? Let's see. Oh, yeah. It's really exciting when kids in the hallway talk about, I'm going to have a growth mindset, and I found it really encouraging when I started hearing hallway chatter about that. But as a collective staff, we said, you know what, we better be careful because we don't want to get to the point with growth mindset where kids are rolling their eyes because the adults are saying it too much, where it becomes sort of blasé, like, growth mindset. So we also kind of made a deliberate choice that we wanted to build growth mindset in students, but we wanted to not say the word growth mindset very often. So we use the agency rubrics sometimes, and we share the agency rubrics, and we try to vary. We try to sometimes do a little YouTube about grit, or we talk about perseverance, or we just talk about strategies. This was directly from a Stanford graduate student who worked with the teacher design group with the CRAs a couple years ago. One of our teachers was in the teacher design group, and now we're all doing the CRAs. And we got in touch with this woman, and we said, you know, should we talk a whole lot about growth mindset, or should we avoid it? Because we started to think about, ooh, how should this land? Because we wanted it for the long haul. And she said, be really careful in how you design your materials. You want to avoid students interpreting the experience as intended to help them. They don't want to be helped. They can get defensive. If they think they're being targeted and if defensiveness sets in, they can entirely reject it and shut it down. Isn't that true for you? So I think it's this tricky dilemma for us as adults to carry a growth mindset attitude to increase our students' ability to persevere in the face of challenges, but not go so overboard that we turn them off to it entirely. But be aware of that. It's good when there's some school verbiage that everybody understands, but it's bad when it becomes flip or so casual that nobody's listening to it anymore. Oh yeah, now it's my favorite part of the day. We're gonna watch a clip from My Cousin Vinny. You remember that movie? My Cousin Vinny? So if you're not familiar with the movie, what year did that movie come out? A long time ago. It's an old one. I'm betraying my age. My Cousin Vinny is a movie about like a New Jersey guy who gets he becomes a lawyer, and he's never gone to trial before. He's a brand new lawyer, and his cousin, his younger cousin, is on some kind of road trip driving across America from New Jersey out west, and they get into some trouble in Alabama, I think it is. There's some kind of crime or accident, I can't even remember, some kind of crime that happens in Alabama. What? Is a murder. Okay, it's a big crime. And so the younger cousin, is accused of being the murderer because of the car he's driving, because the car was spotted at the scene of the murder. So he calls his older cousin Vinny, and he's like, come to Alabama, I'm in jail, you gotta help me. So Vinny drives out with his fiancée, her name is Mona Lisa, and they drive out, and they go to court. So Vinny is fighting with his fiancée. So Vinny, the lawyer, is fighting with his fiancée while he's trying to prove that his cousin, his younger cousin, is innocent of murder based on what kind of car he's driving. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. So Mona is angry at Vinny. They just had an argument. And she's being called to the stands to testify. Now, her background is she understands how cars work. And yet she is a hairdresser. And so I want you to watch this clip, and I want you to think about really specific things. One, what is Mona's basic story about herself? And two, what strategies does Vinny use to take a reluctant and angry person and make them feel empowered with a different basic story? So how does Vinny turn around a reluctant learner? We could say. So watch for some specifics. Movie. Okay, so now think for a minute and then talk at your table groups. What exactly were some strategies and circumstances that turned the reluctant and hostile and lacking self-confidence, out-of-work hairdresser, around to appreciate her own expertise. So get really specific. Think and then talk at your table groups. And I'm going to ask you to share out one of those with the whole group.
He put the picture in, like, I'm not going to let you go in now. I'm going to put you right in front.
But he also walked away.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
I'm
so
going
that
to, like,
it's not like you're directly engaging. Here's his picture, and I'm walking away.
I'm not going to let you hide from your creativity, you know, and once you create it, have it at the end, it's like,
Well, the first time she was like,
right.
she wasn't looking at me.
He's very genuine about it.
Yeah.
You know, at one point, he took, her hand very gently.
Here's the picture. Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, he knew the answer, but he let her have the aha for herself. To me, that's just genius. What do you do to drop the breadcrumbs so that the student has the aha, and it's not yours? Yikes. Great stuff. Okay, so now, there's a little bit of, here we go. There's some research links. If you go to the ECHO group, it's a Google Doc. If you're in the ECHO group, there's just a few links that I think are really succinctly tight. They're good. They get down to not what is mindset, but how do you use growth mindset. So there's maybe 5 or 6 articles. If you don't want to go into the ECHO file collection, you can do another bit.ly. If you're familiar with bit.ly, caps matter. So in your URL bar, capital M, MSET for mindset, capital L. So that's a shortcut to the resources. So just for the next few minutes, just pop through those resources. You don't have to, just shop superficially. You don't have to read them all deeply. One of them's a video. But just kind of shop through them with this in mind. When you return to your school and you're working with your fellow staff or you're working with your students, think about a kid or a situation or a challenge that you know you'll probably bump into. And with that in mind, shop through these resources and come up with something personal that you think you're going to try to do to increase growth mindset in somebody at your school or presumably your students. So I'll give you until 9:22. So I'm only giving you 5-6 minutes to shop through these resources. Come up with one thing, 1 or 2 things. All right, we're going to do a quick slide the line. So that means 2 lines, equal length, line up, face each other. So you're right across from somebody. I think we'll fit right here. So you don't have to bring any of your stuff, just bring your head. Come up, get in 2 lines, right up here, please. All right, that's time. Put your hands up. Woo! Oh, nicely done. Thank you. So now we're going to slide the line. Row A, you and you are going to go to the end of the line, and everybody in row A is going to move up 1 person. You get it? So you two, you go. So you slide over, and then you get to fold in. So you're going to go this way, and then everybody else move this way. So slide the line, and then share your strategies. For closure now that we're out of time, we don't really have time to do this, but I encourage you to go back to your personal survey, the survey that you took when you first played the game this morning, and to think about your responses. And now that you know a little bit about growth mindset in a really concrete way, think about, were any of your responses fixed mindset instead of growth mindset? And if they are fixed, are any of them basic stories that you want to begin to change? Okay, so it doesn't mean everything has to be growth mindset every minute, but maybe there's a story, a basic story for yourself that you want to change relating to your understanding of intelligence, talent, skills. So give that some thought and do a little reflection. I'm sorry I'm rushing the reflection now, but I want to be respectful that we're out of time. This was so much fun for me. What a talented group. Thank you for crowding in here. Thank you.